Hi and welcome to MemberSplash. The topic for this demonstration are MemberSplash online forms. So let's get into it. First and foremost, let's talk a little bit about why we're so excited about the potential that online forms brings to you and your club. First and foremost, I think, is member experience. That keep in mind, more and more things are able to be done online than ever before, and that trend continues. So there is increasingly an expectation among your membership that simple things shouldn't require a manual download, completing a form with pen and paper, and mailing anything in. There's going to be an expectation that if I can do business with the DMV online, certainly I should be able to do business with my swim club online. So that's an important factor. But beyond that, you also make member engagement much easier. So online forms will make it simpler for your members to sign up for social activities or get the kids in swimming lessons or to provide required administrative information like account change requests. Ease of use translates into more members signing up and participating in club activities. And that's why they joined the club. Another important factor, of course, is online payments. Forms can support your debit or credit card purchases online. And what does that mean? Forms can easily include credit or debit card online payment options for your members. So members easily complete the form, sign up for the activity, and make the payment. That form's revenue is tracked in your authorized.net account, and the form's revenue is automatically transferred to your club bank account, simplifying and streamlining your operations. So the example on the right-hand side in the colored boxes, your social chair may choose to email everyone at the club using the bulk email integration that we provide at MemberSplash, and in that email chooses to include a link to one of your online forums. Members can click on the link in the email, go straight to the page where the form is, complete the form, and make a payment. Again, those form payments are automatically going to be transferred into your club bank account, and your social chair is going to receive a complete RSVP list of everyone who signed up to attend the event. Perfect for planning purposes and perfect for your club's bank account as well. Now, it's important to note that forms access varies by plan level. If you are a MemberSplash Basics customer, you will receive basic forms. You will receive a pre-built member application form, and at your option, we can also include a club waiver form. That could be a medical waiver form, coronavirus waiver form, any other liability waiver form can be included. Both Essentials and Premium come with unlimited online forms. So if there's something you can think of for a form, you can do it. So things like, obviously, the application form and the waiver forms, but the social activity forms, lessons, camps, team signups, reservation forms, administrative forms, board elections can be run via form. You will have access to the MemberSplash Forms library as well. So that's applicable for both Essentials and Premium. A couple of notes for our Essentials and Premium customers. Regarding forms, Gravity Forms is our tool of choice for its flexibility, for ease of use, and for a very complete and robust feature set for form building. You will receive several pre-built forms, and more are available for you to download, or you can build as many additional forms as you need. Keep in mind that forms are generally DIY for your club administrator or club technical lead, so some technical skills are going to be helpful. Having said that, instructions for creating and adapting forms are available through the MemberSplash knowledge base. And if you do get stuck working on a form problem, you can certainly contact MemberSplash support for guidance. So let's pause for just a quick second to talk a little bit about a simplified workflow for online forms. So generally speaking, you have your choice of either modifying an existing form, which I find often is quite a bit simpler to do. Or if your requirements are very specific and there isn't an existing version that's really useful, you can certainly build an entirely new form. Now, forms in and of themselves are certainly very useful, but they really don't have any effect until you put them on a web page. So you will need to build a web page for the form, and of course include any elements that you would on any web page, including text or media or anything else that you really want to include. Last, of course, is placing the form on that web page and publishing it so that your members would have access to that page and that form. It's as simple as that at a high level. Okay, now for the live portion of the demonstration where we're actually logged into the system as an administrator. And of course, we're talking about forms. So you'll notice on the left-hand margin, the menu item that says Forms. And under this menu item, you'll see Forms, which is really for your existing forms. New Form, if you just want to start from scratch. Or you can look at form entries or import-export of form data or forms themselves. So since we're going to modify an existing form, just to keep things simple, I click on Forms. Now, apologies, I have so many forms. I've been using the demo system for a long time. So I'm going to go to our waitlist form or application form as our example. You'll see as you hover over any one of the forms on the list that a number of options come up, including edit the form, form settings, form entries, you can preview a form, or if you like a form you've already built and want to use it as the basis for a new form, of course you can duplicate a form. But we're going to go to edit. And one of the things I like to start with when editing a form is first to get a rough idea of what this form is going to look like once it's placed on a page. And you have an option to do a preview. Remember, this isn't exactly what it's going to look like on your page because you'll have page elements as well, but these are the form elements. So you can see our new waitlist application has basic information, who are you, where do you live, and it also has the ability for your members to make payments. So this is a really great starting point. All right, I'm going to close that preview. Now, when I looked at that form, there are a couple of things that I noticed. One is that while we are collecting some information about a prospective member, I don't have a phone number. And sometimes if I have a question about a form, that might be a really useful piece of information. This is a drag and drop form builder, and you can select from among these areas to drag and drop pre-built fields. In this case, as I said, I want to get a phone number for an applicant as well. So I simply take the phone item, and I'm going to place it right here above email. And it's not just a nice to have, I want it to be a required field. So when you click on the field you just placed, you'll see additional elements of that field, including whether or not it is required. So I've just made that a required field. The other thing that I note is that, well, at my club, every new member needs to have a sponsor. So one of the things that I would like to add to this form is the name and email address of a sponsor. So I'm just going to click and drag the name field. And I will also drag an email address field and put it directly below that new name field. Now, name alone on a form is not going to be very informative. So I'm going to click on that new field that I've added, and we're going to say sponsor name. And we're going to make it a required field. Now for the email address, we're going to call this a sponsor email, and it is also required. That's how easy it is to add additional fields to the form. Now, one thing I do want to point out, of course, is that you're going to want to always find the update button to make sure to save your changes. Now, this is another opportunity for us to take a quick look and say, did the new fields add correctly? Do I like their placement? So let me go back to preview very quickly. All right, are my new fields in there? There's my sponsor name. There's my sponsor email. You could, of course, put more detail about what these fields need to contain, but this is a simple example. So that was the preview. Once the form is completed, I'm going to touch on one other thing, because there are quite a few settings that are available to you when you build or use a form. And under settings, you'll see sort of generic form settings. These are things that allow you to perhaps restrict the form to members only, or put publish dates beginning and end on a form. So there's a lot that you can do under form settings. Confirmations is what sort of a message do you want your applicant to receive once they've completed the form. Might be a simple sentence, it may be an email that they receive, or perhaps they're redirected to a completion page that you've built. So there's a number of options there. Notifications is really about who at the club should receive a notification when this form has been completed. In the case of a new membership application, you want to make sure, perhaps, that your membership chair will receive a notification that a new form has been completed. Of course, you can always look at form entries at any time to see how many forms have been filled out. Okay, so the next step is going to be building a page to put this form on so that people can actually access it. So now I'm going to go to Pages, and I can look at existing pages and edit those, but I want to add a new page that I can place this form on. I click Add New. You have to give the page a name. Let's call this New Member Application. And now we get to work on the actual layout of the page. So as I said before, you can add text, you can add images, there's any number of things you can do to make it a more appealing page, not just a form. So let's begin by putting in a little bit of explanatory text. And fortunately, I have already built a little bit of language that I want to use on this form. I'm going to click Copy and Paste. Now with text, you can format this in any way. Do you like a particular font? Do you want it bold or italics? Whatever else. You've got all kinds of options related to this. I think the other thing that I would like to add is an image. I think images always make a page look a little more appealing. I think I'm actually going to put that at the top of the page. Now remember, you'll have access to a whole library of media items, pictures, often for the most part. So I'm going to click Add Media, and it defaults to my media library. That's a good looking image. I'm simply going to insert that into the page. I think I'm going to want it centered on the page. So I click Align Center. Now last and certainly not least is I need to place that new form that we just updated on this page as well. You'll see here, click Add Form, and you simply select the form that you want to add. Remember, waitlist is the form that we were just modifying. You can choose to display the form title and the form description or not. I'm going to click Insert Form, and you'll simply see the form information that's been placed there, not the actual content of the form. But if you've selected the correct form, it's going to look good. So at this point, you can certainly save it as a draft, or if we're feeling pretty good about the way things are going, you can publish the page. I don't think it's a bad idea to take a quick look at how that page is going to appear to a prospective member, and you'll see here the permalink, basically a URL that will be available on your website. I'm clicking it now so we can get a feel for just how this form is going to look. Hey, not too bad. I might, if I were going to spend a little more time, put a larger image there, but the reality is this has got pretty much everything I want on the page. So that's pretty much all there is to setting up a new page to place your form on. But one other thing to keep in mind is pages also have different attributes that you can update or change. So again, as an example, if this, for example, was a members only activity at the pool, you might want to restrict member access to only currently paid members, just as an example. Or if it's for a specific membership type, you could also restrict there. So there's a lot of capability both on the form side as well as the page side. Okay, this was a real quick overview of how you can modify or build a new form, how to build and place a form on a new page. and have everything you need in order to take advantage of forms on MemberSplash. I hope you found it useful, and thanks again for your time.